See?
That's the first time I've had an independent comic published was in. Well, I've been working on it since 2020. So what? 4 years? A little over 4.5 years.
Okay. Jay?
2008.
No, sorry. I didn't think that was going to be a long one. Go ahead.
Jay's
Nice.
2008. 1992.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I
Okay.
my first self-published book was in 1992.
Okay. So I am far and away the greenhorn in this group. So yeah, I released my first book December of last year.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I'm still very much at the beginning of my, publishing journey. I've learned a lot. I mean, I think you immediately start learning lessons, but yeah, I'm excited to also listen and learn and try to glean some insights from all of you guys here.
How long have you been doing it?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about like when the first book actually came out, that was December of last year. It was sort of my first publishing experience. I've been like actually the book that's in Kickstarter now that is going to be my second book to be released. I've actually been working on longer. I started scripting that in 2018, and it was just that initial learning curve of like figuring out how the hell to like make any of this happen.
So I mean, so you've been in the pain of making comics since 2018.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
That's fair to say. But yeah, I mean, I think the lesson that I'm currently the most aware of really being valuable in my journey is just how important it is to create opportunities to work with other creators whose work you really admire and respect. Just so you know where I'm coming from, I'm a writer. I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination. So a lot of the work that I've been doing has been just figuring out how to find writers and get them to work with me and all that kind of stuff. But one of the most valuable things that I did early on that I'm trying to do more of going forward is like create little opportunities to work with somebody, work together on a smaller project like a cover or something like that. And then they're on your team, right? Like once you kind of, grease those wheels, that means it's going to be, easier to work with them in the future, potentially on bigger things when you need an artist to do something else. And also just that, having them on your team in that way, you can get some level of access to like their network and, their fans and the other creators they work with and everything. And so you can sort of build out this web of connections, to yeah, talk to and all of that, networking stuff. So that's the most important one. As far as the most painful one, I don't know. That's a hard question. Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of challenging experiences early on with just learning how to work with artists. Like, when you have a script and you have a vision and you're trying to communicate those ideas, it can be really challenging, kind of like what you were saying, Ryan, of like getting everybody on the same page, just learning how to communicate to make sure that, everybody's sort of, speaking the same language and knows what the expectations are and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, when those kind of communication breakdowns happen, they can be really painful because they do sort of set you back. It's like everybody put effort into this thing and now you have to like do it over or whatever, and like tensions can kind of run high when those types of things happen. So yeah, that's probably one of the more painful sort of learning experiences.
All right, fair enough. John, what are your thoughts?
I guess as far as let's start the other way around and start with the pain. The biggest pain is having patience. We have, Brian and I have started this series, and I'm currently drawing issue 3, but I really want to start issue 4 because there's a lot and we can only do about 2 Kickstarters a year right now, but I want to do more, but I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. So having patience is probably the biggest pain. As far as the most important thing is just to show up and do the work. Stop waiting for inspiration. There's a lot of people who say they want to make comics or write a book or write a story. There's very few of us that finish. And so showing up and getting the work done is the most important thing.
Okay. Fair enough. Mr. C. Michael?
Let's see. I guess the most important thing to learn, just because your approach to work for somebody doesn't mean that they'll actually give you a job, for one. Many times have I been approached to do work. Oh, yeah, I got you. Never count on that kind of thing. Never count on it. Especially if somebody's over enthusiastic. That right there is a red flag. We'll let you know that now. If they're over enthusiastic, oh, yeah, definitely, we got you, man. This is going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's a red flag. If you're approaching your guys that way, you might want to be careful. Every time I have somebody approach me that way, it never turns into a job. That's one thing. 2, I think the most painful thing to find out in this game, and it's not even from myself, it's from watching others, is just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're going to sell. Unfortunately, that's just the case. It might be fantastic art, it might be great story, but just because it's good, it doesn't mean it's going to sell. So, yeah, something like that.
All right. Fair enough. Jay, what are your thoughts?
First
That's
one
a
is
stupid concept, isn't it?
No,
I was the comment. That's a stupid comment, bro. I know the guy. Don't worry about it. But no, that's not anti-capitalism. Kickstarter is the same thing as trying to gather up sponsors or anything else like that. If you don't want to support a Kickstarter, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But to make up the fact that you say it's anti-capitalism, which actually might work in this day and age, is fine. But you can't sit there and say, oh, this is anti-capitalism when it's actually the very heart thereof it.
Right.
We're talking about gathering sponsors and gathering people to help you support something. And I promise you, Ford Motor Company had to do the same thing. I mean, after all, look, Ford was giving out freaking cars to people just like Hitler. So take that into consideration.
Isn't that what buying stocks is, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
The majority of the people using Kickstarter,
the
majority of the people using Kickstarter don't have VC money behind them, don't have rich uncles, okay? Right. Don't have major sponsors promoting in their books, all right? They're reaching out to all of those who are looking for new products or for people who are willing to put their money where their mouth is. So this is funny because this comment leads into my answer. What's the most important lesson that I've learned? Not everybody's in your fucking corner. That's the most important lesson that I learned. Not everyone is going to be behind you. All right. I don't know who you are, Alec. Thank you. Appreciate you watching the show, but and spending time with us. But I've learned not everyone is here for you. Right. Some people are just looking to see you fall flat in your face. Some people are just looking to ride your back until you get across the water. So that's one of the lessons I've learned. The most important, painful lesson that I've learned is vet your collaborators, or anyone that you may possibly be doing business with at any point whatsoever. All right. It goes back to what I said earlier. Not everybody's going to be in your corner, right? So do your due diligence, because if you don't do it in the beginning, you're going to pay for it later on at the end.
All right. Now, for me, I'll answer. I got something to say to Alec. Listen, currently have a Kickstarter running. The Oswald Chronicles, the book is done, so you can order with confidence. Okay, so there you go. So just so you know, you're pre-ordering. It's like ordering from Amazon. You'll get it in a few weeks. It's gonna happen. I've done 40 of these. Actually,
It's funny.
more.
I mean, it's like, so when you go to a convention, will you not buy the book that's on the table that may have been funded by Kickstarter?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Come on.
And like I said, in some cases I get it because there's some books like, look, bad idea. I'm on their third campaign. I've backed, and these campaigns are not cheap, and they have yet to send me a single damn book.
right.
I'm confident they will send me the books, but man, it is a slog. Like it's like I'm waiting, But and the only reason I'm waiting is because it's people like, Matt Kint and Venditti, and they have some great writers.
Yeah, but they're still a publishing company. They're still editors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here the fuck we are, bro. And I fulfilled 26 motherfucking campaigns.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here wearing it like a badge of courage, right? I don't have anybody promoting it for me. So I'm not fucking putting it out there with pride. No. You know what I mean? I just put out the next one and the next one and the next one.
Well, I think here's the thing. Here's the thing about it is, okay, so let's not look at Kickstarter as a stock type of option. Let's talk about supporting your local grocery store, because you do get something out of it. You're still buying it and supporting it. You're still buying that stick of gum. You're getting your pharmacies and your drugs from that. You're still getting those things from that local store and supporting it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get off that. I'll go back to my original question. I think the important lesson that I've ever learned in this business is communication with my artists is key, right? Like early on, I got very fortunate. What? What the hell is Jay talking? Jay, you okay? You having a stroke?
Yeah, no, I'm reading the comments. That's all.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'll be there. I'll get to them in a minute. But okay.
Go watch.
Like I said, the most important thing I think
go someplace else
is communication with your artists, making sure that you have an open communication with your artists. You understand? And constantly keep that communication. And if you're paying for the artist, be sure you pay them. No matter what it is, whatever the agreed upon contract is, be sure you pay them and try to pay them quickly. I know I try to pay my guys within 24 hours. So that's one. As far as the most painful thing I've ever come across is, I don't know. I mean, I heard what Jay has to say, but like, yeah, not everybody's going to be in your corner, but not everybody can afford to be in your corner, right? I mean, unfortunately, that's one of those things. Like, like we all have backers that come in, come out, float in, float out. What I mean? You can't hold it against them, because
you don't got to be financially solvent to assist somebody else's campaign. Oh my God, I used a big word, not a potty mouth. Oh,
no, you ain't got to worry about that anymore. He ain't watching. He's inflammatory. He just likes to start stuff, just like with his AI crap. And if they're not going to be in your corner, why are you still around me? So that's
there you go. No, but you know what I mean. You can share somebody's campaign,
of course.
Right? You can talk it up to somebody else, right? That's being in somebody's corner without lending a dime. Hey, we got bills, right? The national average, people are spending more than $200 a month in groceries than they did just 2 years ago. So I understand, but money's tight for everybody. I get it.
Listen, it's time for everybody to just start fasting. That's all. So yeah, I like I said, the most painful thing, I think, I don't know. It's like, look, I do this show, right? And I try to help people as much as possible. And sometimes people don't listen. And it's sometimes like, why are you not listening? And sometimes that's the most painful thing. But look, I mean, sometimes we all have to we have to all go on with it. And that's just what it is, and I mean, it's just one of those things. And Jay's right. You do have to vet the people you get into business with. Cause yeah, we were in a situation where, we didn't do the greatest job of that.
No. and it bit us big time.
Yeah, they bit us big time. So
Yeah.
but stuff happens. All right. So Jay, your question. What
All
do you
right,
got?
cool. You brought up AI for a second, Lanning. I wanna hit this up. Recently, Colin Kaepernick came out and he said he raised $4 million, right, VC money to help people. Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
know how to use my potty mouth
Jay,
language.
Jay,
I'm
you
not
can
even
say-
sure what you
Jay,
said,
you
bro.
Jay, you could just say fuck that guy.
Fuck that, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, some people are just anti whatever just because they want to be.
Right. So whatchamacallit, going back to the Colin Kaepernick, we're raising $4 million, right? So he can help people get into the creation of comic books. All right. Do you feel this is a missed opportunity on helping creators who can use a leg up, or do you think that is where the mainstream population thinks that comic books are headed anyway?
Travis, you're up, sir.
I mean, I assume all of us here can agree that it's a missed opportunity. Like, just the number of things that you could do with that money if you were, investing in actual creators and, building up a company that, a publishing company that hires and supports, cool up and coming people who have something interesting to say. And, yeah, there's incredible wasted opportunity there. Yeah, I can speak a little bit from personal experience that I've talked to just sort of non-comics industry people in my daily life, and mentioned to them at a moment when I was like struggling to find an artist to do a comic project for me or something like that, and I've had people be like, well, have you thought about just doing it with AI? And there's a very sort of cavalier mindset about that I think if you're not like in the industry at actually sort of seeing the people who are putting their lives into creating these things, and the day-to-day impact of that kind of thinking, like it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, there's like you have a problem and there's a solution, and so just do that, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's any way forward for that in terms of the like comics as a medium. Like sure, you can crank something out, but if it doesn't have like an actual person behind it with a creative vision who's developing that art, like is it going to do anything to push the medium forward? Like, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Cool. John, what are your thoughts?
Well, first, I don't think many people understand, like the common people understand AI at all or even give a shit about it. We do, because it impacts us as creators. But the mainstream people don't. And the problem with AI is mostly it's a tool that can be used nefariously, which seems to be the case in most cases where people want to create something effortlessly and they want to take out us. So you just don't want to pay anybody because they're cheap bastards, right? But, it can be a tool used for a lot of good, not specifically in our industry, but in other ways, similar to how, you know, a tool like Photoshop came in and photographers were very crazed about people using Photoshop, but then it became a tool that enhanced and grew and became better. I think that that is the future that AI can take, but I don't think it's going to go that way. It can be, but I don't think it will. And what happens with it is that you take it, even if you could create a comic book using AI, it's not going to be good. It just won't be, because there's this human piece of us that creates a visual story, and each of us has this vision or this library in our heads to draw from, and AI just goes and you know, scrapes the internet and plugs a bunch of crap onto a page or into an image. You can totally tell that no matter what the image,
Yeah, it looks bad. Yeah,
that it's lifeless and it's bad. So I think this is one of those new shiny things, you know, that people are worked up about, and rightly so. But I think that as long as we don't give up and don't acquiesce to it, and we don't participate, that it will eventually die down.
Can I interject too on that point? Like, I'm personally sort of wary of arguments based around the fact that the product is bad, because it is bad currently, but it's getting better all the time. And I think it's better to just emphasize the question of, like, you know, what kind of future do we want to live in? Like, what jobs do we want humans to do versus, you know, AI to do? And like, when I envision what AI can do to augment humanity in the future, it's, you know, doing the jobs that people don't want to do, not creating some kind of facsimile of like creative expression, which is such a like innately human thing. Like, it's, you know, it's this sort of basic human right to express yourself creatively. And so I think that's the deeper point that should always be emphasized, although it is true that it's bad.
yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, no, it's not an argument. You're absolutely right. Totally agree.
All right, cool. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I really don't know what I can even say that hasn't already been said before. That, like, they both made excellent points. I mean, AI just seems like it's a tool. I'm definitely too lazy to learn it. I personally really enjoy the creative process, and regardless if people bought my books or whatever, like, I would still be drawing. I'd still be coloring something. Like, when I don't do something creative for a while because I'm busy with work or life gets crazy and hectic, like, it really pulls on you, you know, like you don't feel like it. I don't know. Everything just feels worse when you don't actually get to like sit and create. I feel like you guys probably understand that. I don't really know how to express that to somebody who doesn't do this kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know.
There's a reason, Ryan, that they use art in therapy. It's cathartic. You know, there's a part of our brains that requires that. Even if you don't draw or paint, it is a part of our who we are as human beings, that doing that process is a healing thing. And so, like, I'm the same. If I don't draw for a few days, and I am a grumpy fuck. I mean, it's just the way it is. And
That's
I'm
why
just
you
using
have an
that.
alarm that goes off that tells John it's drawing time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think it could be a tool. I don't think it necessarily needs to be bad. It really depends, like, how people end up using it. Like, that's what people have been saying. Like, I don't know. I think it could be neat, like, if you were trying to like do concept art and you would get ideas from it. Like, I don't see that being bad, but like getting ideas and copying the ideas is two different things. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I mean, I also really like looking at, like, when I reference stuff and looking at different things, because as I'm looking at the stuff, I'm thinking about it, and how I process it isn't going to necessarily be how other people process it. And it goes through my personal filter and comes out, regardless of what I'm doing, it's going to come out like me. Sorry, guys.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. C, what are your thoughts?
Could you ask the question again? Because I have something to say about it, but I want to make sure it answers the question.
Yeah.
So I was getting off on getting off. I was utilizing
potty mouth. Watch out now, Rosario.
I was utilizing what Colin Kaepernick did, right? And he raised $4 million
right.
VC money to start an AI company, right? And
it was for an AI company. It was for an AI company, if I'm not mistaken. It's already made.
It's already made. All right,
yes.
and I remember it was something to the effect of a statement was to help creators out there, right?
To end the gatekeeping of people who actually know how to make a comic. Yes, those bastards who actually learned how to do everything. Right.
Who developed the skill. Yes.
Right.
But on the other side of that coin, do you think mainstream, right, the normies, the people who are not entrenched in comic books the way we are, see AI as just another tool to get stuff done, and do not understand the blood, sweat, and tears that we are?
They would if there wasn't legalities that are coming up behind it. Have you remember the Amazon stores? And I just watched somebody expose this the other day. The Amazon stores where you can walk in, get what you want, it reads what you did, and you walk out, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be AI reading this, right?
Okay.
Most simple thing in the world. It's a scanner. Come to find out that they were actually hiring hundreds of Indian workers to see what they were buying through the cameras to add it to the carts to check it out. The reason Mr. Kaepernick just spent $4 million on almost the same exact thing. They're scraping. There are people out there that are scraping this, believe it or not. And the whole idea that AI is what they say it is, it's not true.
Okay.
But from what I understand is they're trying to get enough money now to basically, like a Ponzi scheme, get it out, get as much money as they can now before the top is blown. Because there are several companies coming up right now that are looking at lawsuits against certain things like Midjourney and a lot of these other AI companies that are not doing what they say it actually does.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be concerned with it on that grounds because it's about to blow. One. Two, it's almost like, okay, yeah, you could go buy IKEA and you could go buy Walmart, right? And you could go buy that kind of furniture. But when it comes to something that's handmade and crafted, and what it sells for a higher price, so if it sells for a higher price, you get to make less of it and more and profit more from it, right? So that's one thing, and I think that's what we're going to see there if it doesn't explode. But mainstream is going to have a problem using it on the grounds that, one, right now you can't license it. You can't say this is mine. Right now, that's stupid. What is it? And I said stupid, and I mean it. The Elf Witch AI comic that's out there. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Amazon. I'm surprised you haven't seen it because
is that the one Chad brought up in the comment? The guy making $25K?
No, that's somebody else. That's Everett Hartsoe.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, I could go take Elf Witch, actually draw that out and sell it, and he can't do anything about it because he used Midjourney to make that comic.
Okay.
So I'm not. No, I don't think it's anything. Yeah, can't copyright AI content currently. As long as the courts maintain this rule, we're safe. And that's the thing. You're talking about not able to copy. You can't copyright it. That doesn't play well for businesses. That doesn't play well for big businesses at all. So,
right.
Kaepernick and I don't know if he knows it, but he's pretty much scammed people out of $4 million. That's what that boils down to. And so that's I think, but I will say this: as far as that's concerned, I think it really reveals what kind of person he actually is. There in this business, I like to refer to people like that as opportunists. That they see an opportunity, they take it, whether it's moral or not. And comics are full of it. And welcome to the team, Kaepernick, because now you're part of that industry that does exactly that. You're one of those. So, and you know, you know the people I know it though, but you know,
shot, baby. you might as well have just said you didn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl. You might as well have just said that.
Well, I don't know anything about sports, but I've asked seriously people who do know about sports. And Kaepernick, I said, did he ever bring anything to the table anyway outside of his protests? And from what I understand, he's not even that good of a football player. So that just goes to show you.
It's a defense. For those who are not sports guys, it was totally the defense that brought them to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, I think it's basically it's somebody trying to continue to make themselves look relevant. And there's even a YouTuber right now who's going under a lot of fire for supposed charity work and games and things like that. That it's coming out that person is not who they said they were.
The thing is, he was there at San Diego Comic-Con trying to drum up interest on something he had already done and thought it was laying the groundwork for promotion.
Yeah.
And it just blew up in his face because I know of at least 2 artists, mainstream people that I speak to, one that I respect her immensely, who are like, you're letting us down. You're letting us down.
Yeah.
That he spoke to. And it's just like, you know what you're doing, brother.
Yeah, he knows. He knows exactly what he's doing. I've seen a few people said that they've talked to him about it and what he's doing. And it just he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Anybody who sees people, I don't look at people who don't let me build a house because I'm not skilled as people who are gatekeeping carpentry. That's a ridiculous notion. And it's using a key phrase or it's using a sensationalized word to manipulate people into your side. And that's all that is. And that's what he's doing. We don't keep it from the gatekeepers. Buddy, if you learn how to draw and you learn how to write, you're more than welcome to come to the table. In fact, we beg you to come to the table because there's a lot of people out here that are putting stuff out that don't know how to do this stuff.
Yeah, man.
And they're still doing it.
You know what?
Nobody's stopping them, unfortunately.
I want to see him put his own money into finding collaborators who are not going to produce a book for him, even though he's going to spend the money. Lose that dough, and then you can sit on your side of the table, baby.
Yeah. And let me put a disclaimer on this. Whether you know how to write or you don't know how to write, it's all a matter of opinion on whether somebody likes your writing. So I'm just joking about that. You're welcome. You're welcome to come.
You're speaking of writing, Calderon. I'm sorry. Let me bring this up.
Oh wow.
Before ChatGPT, I was using Grammarly to help me, right? And that's AI. But here I am using Grammarly to help me out.
But Grammarly is just checking your grammar. It's not. It's making sure your commas in the right place.
I'm going somewhere with this. I know, but that's what the copy editor job is, right? And I didn't hear copy editors, right? The copy editor union up in arms over the use of Grammarly. And I'm not knocking copy editors. I'm not knocking people who use Grammarly. I'm saying this situation was presented to us already years ago. We use it effectively. We use it so much that I got integrated into our regular email creations, dude. Right? When you scale that up or parallel it or whatever you want to say to the artwork, where is this going to be a few years from now?
All right.
I agree really strongly with what Chad just said, and I've observed waves of this already where you'll see people start to post AI art on the internet, and there's this initial kind of wave and there's a bunch of novelty, and people are excited by it, and then when the novelty wears off, it becomes disposable really fast because people are just kind of churning it out, and there's not the passion and love behind each individual piece where somebody's going to put in the work to really do something with it. It's just thrown out there. And yeah, I think that's a very true statement, what he just said about fast fashion.
I'm going to say something that's going to piss some people off, and it might piss off people in this room. If we had shut up about it a long time ago, it wouldn't have lasted as long as it has.
Yep.
Because things last not because they're good sometimes, but because of controversy. We got 9, 10, and 11 years of Married with Children, which I like, but we got 11 years of Married with Children because of controversy, not because people thought it was Shakespeare. And if we had stopped harping on it, it would have been a Facebook filter. But here's what's being called, as far as the other generation is concerned, the generation coming up, they consider it boomer art. So I think it'd be fine.
All right. You guys done? I got a few thoughts. All right. And I am completely going to be a contrarian to this whole thing. Now, here's the thing, though. I will preface it with this, is that I will always use and prefer regular artists. But the thing is this problem or this thing that's coming up with AI art, I don't know how old everybody is. I know how old I am. I know how old Jay is. This is not our problem, okay? This is going to be a problem 30 years from now. Because the thing is kids growing up in school will grow up with this technology, okay? They're going to grow up with it. 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, it's going to be on their little tablets, and they're going to be able to make little comics, and they're going to be able to talk to them, and they're going to be able to work with the AI. Do you know why that's going to happen? Because that is what the people who are in power want, okay? And that's the sad facts of it. You're going to have a few outliers. You're going to have some weirdos out there who are going to be like, who are going to gravitate to pen and ink, right? But in 30 years, we're dinosaurs, okay? That's facts. And they're going to be fully accustomed to working with that technology. They're going to be fully accustomed to working with that technology. Like I said, it's not going to be a battle we're going to fight. We've already lost it. You understand? But we lost it 40 years in the future. You understand? So that's where that's going. Whether or not, I mean, like I said, I don't agree with it. You understand? I'd rather have AI fix roads and fix my painting and fix my electrical work and let us do, Shakespeare and do all those great things. But, that's not how it's going to shake out. And the other thing is, the thing with AI is I've had long, lengthy conversations with my wife, who's an artist, and she absolutely despises AI, and I get it. But the thing is my thing as a writer is I try to look at everything from every side as possible, from every angle. You understand? I try to look at things. I try to understand the thing from every side. And I'm like, you have to try to understand that the people who are doing this stuff, these are the same people that slept up right here in New York City. I'm in New York City, right? In Manhattan, we had the garment district, right? Which was a powerhouse of a district for 50 years. My mother worked there. She made a fine living. A lot of people made a lot of fine living. Then I believe it was in 1986, 87, or it might have been in the 90s. Some laws were signed in. Everything moved to China. Okay? Same thing. You understand? It's just the same thing. They don't care about us. They're going to get it for as cheap as possible. And look, Marvel and DC have been doing it for years. Marvel and DC, they had American artists for a long time. You know what happened? They found out there was a huge culture in the Philippines that they could bring over. Those guys were excellent and half the price. Okay? It's been going on for a long time. So I'm sorry to break it to everybody. That freight train is not stopping for you. The only thing you can do is just not be in front of it. So, yeah, it's sad and it sucks. But, it is what it is. But I'm just saying.
I totally disagree with that analogy of the TV because that's apples and oranges. That's complete apples and oranges. No, because you're talking about, you had radio, books, which are still around, comics, which are still around, radio, which is still around, and came back again as podcasts. So you're talking about a physical medium versus something that's artistic. There's people still painting.
Yeah, there will still be 30, 40 years from now. They're going to still be people painting. But they're not. How many radio shows is it just the thing? You got to remember, 80 years ago, radio was the thing, right? A radio artist could command millions of dollars, right? Or tens of thousands or whatever it was at the time. They're not going to command that now.
Have you seen podcasts? That's not, no. I disagree with that.
I have one. I'm not making tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, maybe you're doing something
You make that kind of
wrong.
money?
No, but maybe you're doing something wrong. But here's the deal.
Definitely doing something wrong. I hang out with Jay every
But
week.
you look at let's look at YouTube, which is a revolution. You say, okay, that's your revolution during media such as this, because now you have anybody that's coming out. But guess what they're doing? They're making sponsors. Even the YouTuber that I was just talking about made millions of dollars starting off just like this. So that's where your revolutionary comes from. But you can't sit there and say, oh, because TV came in and it didn't even kill radio, but TV came in, that's what the future is. That's not necessarily true. Because look, it's just like that meme that has it. Oh yeah, video killed the radio star, but then the podcast came and resurrected it. So to say that again, there's going to be an effort, because here's the deal. You're talking about something, writing and art. So people who have that passion, who have that desire to do it, are still going to do it. And I promise you that will be the stuff that people will pick up, because they will see that, hey, I can do that too. So looking at a computer or whatever the case is doesn't say, oh, I'm not trying to write 100 words per minute.
Here's the thing. There's going to be a guy, gal, whatever, that's going to come up and is going to learn and is going to know that technology intrinsically. And they're going to have talent, right? And they're going to be able to leapfrog the person who doesn't know the technology by tenfold. They're going to be able to knock out more work. You understand? Imagine if John Bassino.
Okay, but you're saying, so you're saying this from. So let's put it this way. Then how would we say it like this? Mainstream is dead. It's dead.
Is it?
And if it tries that, no, it is. If it tries to do that, it's dead. Even though it might still thrive on life support and money, it's dead, because it has no heart or anything else like that. There are plenty of freaking independents out there that are still doing hand-drawn animation. There is just a video game that made millions. That was an independent video game that they used old-fashioned 2D animation to make.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. That made your money. But just because you see it everywhere, I see freaking garbage everywhere. That doesn't mean that people are picking it up. You get what I'm saying? It's like, dude, I wish I had a better time. No, but I think that's a false equivalent. I think that's a false equivalent to say,
it's gonna happen.
Oh,
bro.
okay, maybe Starbucks. Okay, coffee's your trends, but that's the same. It's a false equivalent. You can't sit there and say, oh, because TV was a different medium. TV was an introduction of a new medium. AI is not a new medium; it's a manipulation thereof.
You got to understand, this is going to be a tool that people are going to use. It's not a new medium; it's a tool. Just like
absolutely, but that's what I'm saying. You can't. It's a false equivalency to television, is what I'm saying.
I never said anything about television. What does television have to do?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You made the statement. Just like 30 years when radio came and TV came, and now everything went to TV.
I made that statement after you said what you said.
No,
I don't even know what you're arguing. My point is that this technology is rolling along. It's going to come out, and what else are we going to do about it?
I agree, JD. I think that it's just, like I said, I think it's just going to keep moving forward. But there's always going to be a need for traditional artists.
Yes,
there's always going to be a place. It's just like if you use a story engine to give you prompts when you're stuck somewhere. That's AI. It's the same type of deal. You're not taking that and that's your story. You're just using prompts and so you're right. The next generation, Generation Alpha, Generation Beta, that my grandchildren are already doing those types of things. And to see Michael's point, Don Bluth just opened up his studio again to make 2D cartoon animation. The guy who made American Tail and not that that's his best one, but
yeah.
So there's always that place. It's just that instead of us griping about AI, we need to look at how do we continue doing what we do and have the next generation have the same value and the same desire and the same want. Encourage that. Encourage, instead of spending our time griping about the dangers of artificial intelligence and how it may replace or not replace another medium. How do we encourage and get the next group of people motivated to continue making real art? I mean, there's a lot of artists that do things digitally, right? I draw digitally. I draw, all of my pencils are digital now just because I love using the iPad. I love doing all of my stuff. I can do it in the living room. I can do it on, at work, but I still ink everything traditionally. Because I still want to have a physical, and inking is, you're there's a whole process for that. But anyway,
and JD, what you were saying about sort of the next generation of kids who grow up using this technology, become super fluent at it and whatever, I would argue that a person doing that is not an artist any more than a director of films is an actor.
Okay, that's fair.
They are, they're guiding an artistic vision, but every director still needs to have cinematographers and actors and, real humans bringing their artistic, sensibilities to bear on this project to make all the individual things happen. And I do struggle to see a world where putting prompts into, any kind of AI generative thing can really replicate that, because ultimately it's only regurgitating things that already exist, right? It's just chopping up and spitting back out remixes of existing things.
I mean, my point is not that, you understand? my point is that it's a tool that people are going to utilize, right? And there's a lot of different ways to look at it, right? Is it going to replace people? They're going to be normal folks that are going to come in and think that that's how it works and that's how they're going to be able to use it. You understand? I feel that they're going to be little kids, like I said, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Like I said, it's not going to be our problem, where they're going to be creating comic books on that, using that. And they might not know the difference. You understand?
Yeah, but we've had 25 years of CGI created cartoons, and people are craving 2D animation again.
I agree.
So it's the same type of, to Travis's point, there's directors there were still artists that were making those 3D models, but the vision was somebody putting it all together. It's a similar thing. I think that pendulum is going to swing back. It may swing pretty far wide, but there's always going to be this craving for something authentic, and you're never going to get that. You're never ever going to get that from AI. It's never going to be that.
So what I really want to know is, when JD asked that question, if I was the only person out there that pictured these kids in the future having like a little jack in the back of their head, and they're plugging it in, and they're not even drawing, they're just thinking the comic, and they're like, I did 500 pages today, guys. I think I'm gonna go get lunch. I'm not the only one, right? Somebody else had to have that thought.
See, there you go. But here we go. We're gonna present something now that's genuine. That's very genuine. There you go.
Hey, I recognize that.
There you go. Do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, do it. I'm proud of that video.
All right, cool.
That opening line about the world with no art and stories sort of hits different with the conversation we've just been having.
AI took it all away.
Took it all.
Maybe. There you go. Yeah, but yes, this is my graphic novel that I've been working on since 2018. It is, yeah, it takes place, like it says, in this world where there is no art or stories. There hasn't been for a really long time, and the story follows this woman named Chell, who basically becomes the first person to see stories in the stars and in the constellations, and how she sort of shares those stories with the world, and how they also become really, really important and sort of redemptive in her own life and her personal journey. So there's a lot of sort of interweaving of these little star myths and how they sort of reflect then the narrative of her life and all that. Yeah. And you can see I've been working with this guy named R.H. Stewart, who's a UK-based artist. And he's doing this really cool stuff with creating sort of a more conventional sort of flat color art style for the main narrative of the story. But then when these little star myths come in, he's doing this sort of watercolor, very like painterly kind of illustrations to just sort of help create the sort of wonder and fantasy of that element of it.
Is he actually watercoloring these? Because he look really nice. Because I can see the texture of the paper. It looks like
I'm pretty sure it's digital watercolor that he's using.
Gotcha.
But he does a really good job of sort of blending, all the digital elements together.
Like this, you can actually see the texture of the paper. That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
Yeah, I love that touch. Yeah, I don't know if there's some physical elements that he's layering with the digital or if it's all digital. I'm not positive on that, but yeah. So that's my book.
All right, cool. Now, it was a 76-page graphic novel?
78, I think.
78 okay.
Yeah. I originally wrote it because, as I said, this was the first thing I ever wrote. I had no idea what the process of releasing it was going to be like. And so to just kind of like hedge my bets, I wrote it in such a way where it's 3 chapters. They're 26 pages each. And so I was like, I could release those as 3 individual, floppies, or I could put it all out as one thing, which is ultimately what I'm doing with it. Yep. And you can see as well that there's a musical component to it. So I've been a musician for much longer than I've been a comic writer. And that's actually where a lot of the stories sort of initially developed out of just me sort of coming up with ideas for lyrics for songwriting. And so it was always part of the vision from the beginning to kind of have those 2 sides to it, where there's a concept album, which is also 3 tracks, which sort of mirror the 3 chapters in the story. Although if you think 3 tracks sounds short, it's a prog rock album, so they're pretty long tracks. But yeah, it's something I'm always trying to do. You can hear it a little bit in that video that played. That clip of the music was from the album, and so I play guitar on that and sing, and am the sort of main songwriter and the writer on this book.
All right, cool. What, if you don't mind me asking, where did you find your artist?
I ultimately found him through a website, which at the time was called hireanillustrator.com. Now I think it's Hireillo is what it's called. I found his profile on there, and it just worked out. That he could do everything I wanted him to do. So yeah, he's doing the interior art. I have Rob Jones is doing the lettering, and then Philip Jin did the cover. He's a Bay Area based artist who I just met at a con. Yeah, that was sort of the thing I was talking about at the beginning of something I learned. He's a good example of that because I had him do the cover for this book and really liked working with him. And based on that experience, I had him do all of the art for the comic I put out last year, which is called Finale. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Was Finale also like a graphic novel?
More of like a one-shot comic. It's 26 pages, I think, 26, 28, something in that range. But yeah, they're standalone stories, but they are sort of interconnected. They take place in the same universe, which I'm kind of gradually building out over time. So I hope that if people do read both, they'll spot little sort of connections and things, and you can start sort of piecing together some of the larger lore aspects of what's going on. But they work by themselves as just totally standalone stories as well.
All right, cool. Well, you got 26 days. You're 29%. I mean, you're on your way.
Almost
You know
a third of the way there, chugging along.
Chugging along. You just got to hustle. You get there.
I understand, Travis. I'm there too, brother. Don't worry about it. Don't let it knock you, bro. You got to grind it out every day.
That's it.
That's it.
You know, just one backer at a time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Here's our next one. Gentlemen, I'm talking to both of you. So, do you guys want me to play this video?
No.
Oh, plenty of you worked on it.
So there we go.
Play the video, man.
It's not us
All right,
talking this time.
All right, there you go. Look, we're gonna play the video.
27 minutes. Don't play the video.
Short and sweet. Good job, guys.
I like it.
I like it. All right.
I had no father and son jokes this time.
How about it? We didn't want to be on camera this time.
Gotcha. So, John, Ryan, what do we got?
It's a book.
All right.
It's our second issue. It's the tagline for this is two broke mercenaries must outwit wizards and thieves to break the curse of a mythical creature. And it's a 48-page floppy, a little smaller than our first one. First one was 64. And Ryan does the colors. I did all the illustrations. We have Dave Lentz lettering, who has to letter all the things, and James Powell is our editor.
Nice. Yeah. All right, cool. So now, I mean, I'm pretty sure I asked you this. Now, why this subject matter? Why the dungeon crawl D&D style type character?
That's it's a very good question. When we were in between projects, Ryan and I, we were trying to figure out. Basically, it was really we were trying to figure out what I was going to work on next, because Ryan does a lot of coloring, so he's always working on something. But I really didn't have anything else to work on, and I was doing these little derpy drawings in my sketchbook of a baby dragon and barrels and knives and just all the miscellaneous crap that would be in a fantasy world. And I came up with the names of the characters, and it just kept coming to the top of the heap. And Ryan's all, that's the next project. And we really didn't have a story, but we brainstormed, and it was really originally going to be just a one-off.
Hey now.
Hey, yeah, that's our cash grab tier.
Nice.
It was really just supposed to be a one-off story, but we had so many ideas for it that it just became a series, and actually became the launching point for our imprint, Commonwealth Comics. So and I always wanted to do a fantasy story. I love D&D. I played my age. I was introduced to D&D in 1980. My mom actually was a dungeon master. She was the dungeon master for my group of friends. And I just always loved that style of adventure. And when Ryan and I wrote,
John has to die because he has homework to do tonight.
yes, when we wrote it as if it was an adventure, like what would happen when two friends get together, and we just come up with all these different ideas and we string them together into a story, and we love it.
Like when we were kind of brainstorming it, and like, you know, I would ask John, okay, so how does this happen? Like I'm asking him questions, and then as we're answering it, you know, because we're such best friends, like we just laughed so hard, and we had never laughed so hard in our lives. Like every time we still come up with a new book, or we're still pitching ideas, like we just come up with the stupidest stuff. And then like I'll like, I don't know how you feel, like JD, because you're a writer, and Travis, like sometimes I give up these ideas to John, and then I see him drawing them. I'm like, I can't believe he drew that thing that came out of my head. It was the dumbest idea. But then when you see it, and then after John works his magic, it's like, oh man, like it's so out of this world, but it's so awesome. We just have so much fun doing this.
Yep.
All right, cool. I mean, listen, I mean, you know, you guys always produce a quality product. Now, this is issue 2. How many more issues you guys planning, or are you guys just going to keep rolling till you know?
We're just going to keep. Yeah, we're just going to keep going. We have issue. I'm drawing issue 3, issue 4. We just went through our 3rd round of edits. Mm-hmm. Issue 5 is completely written. Issue 6 is outlined. Issue 7 through 13 have titles and kind of an idea of what the main story might be. And we also have the ending planned already. Ryan wrote that already, which is just so when we ever decide that we're done, we have an end story already that is like the perfect capstone for the whole series. So, but we're just going to keep going as long as it's fun, and as long as people dig it, we're just going to keep making it.
Just like that guy that commented earlier that was saying about he doesn't understand Kickstarter and all that. Like, people backing the Kickstarter and showing their support for it shows us that people are interested in what we're doing. And as long as the people are interested, we will spend the time that it takes to continue to make something that is going to hopefully bring people joy and laughter. And we're having a great time. We put a lot of heart into this book.
Yeah.
We think it shows. We've had a lot of really great comments on it. And as long as people continue to come out and support it, and we can continue to make it, like, we want to try to continue to do it for as long as we can. That's what Kickstarter is.
I want to apologize to everybody for being so bold after that statement, because I know how hard it is to put these books together. And I know, you know, we're out here, we're doing the grind work to get these books promoted and stuff like that. And I take that to heart. You know what I mean? I know how hard it is for you guys to put this together. I'm there with you. And for somebody to just come out here and knock and be like, it just...
That's okay, JD. He messaged my wife to tell me to fuck off. So you're okay.
What?
That shows you, yeah. Just to let you know.
But I got a potty mouth. You know?
Yeah. That's just to show you the kind of mindset. So don't feel bad about it. Not at all.
I'm sorry. I pulled
There's
it
just
down.
people out there that like that. So
I pulled it down a couple of seconds too early. I just wanted to show everybody. So you guys are 85% of the way there.
You're kicking ass. Good stuff.
You got 25 more days. So yeah, you guys are well on your way. You guys are doing great.
Yeah.
So
thanks. Yeah. Anybody watching can find it by going to worst-mayhem.com. It'll take you right there.
Or just go to the show notes. The links are in the show notes.
And you're right there too.
Yep. And you're right to the page. Listen, I sometimes pay attention. Sometimes, I'm trying to help. Like I said, I'm trying to help people out here.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna pull up somebody who doesn't. So here we go. Here we go. What?
Little me. Yes, the Storm Chasers Volume 1 and 2 are 51% of the way funded. 2 weeks in, we still got about just under 3 weeks to go. And it is collecting the 8-issue series of the Storm Chasers, where a former hero returns to her team, to her old team that she used to lead, to help her rescue her kidnapped daughter. We've got a special reward for anyone who is a returning backer, and that is our Holochrome trading card. We've got a whole set of trading cards that we always offer as stretch goals. So if anybody wants to get in on it, you can pick up the set, and whatever new cards come out with this stretch goal will automatically be a free 99. So all you got to do is support the project, and you'll be getting new cards if trading cards are your thing. We talk about who the characters are, where the money's going, where we've been, stuff like that. We have added today original art for the campaign. Oh, here are some of the other graphic novels that are available to you in either the set or add-ons to any reward tier that you want. If you're running out of space and you want to catch up on the entire Unstoppable Comics digital catalog, you can pick that up. You're saving about $30. Then we have our shirts. We're always doing shirts at a high margin item for us. We have been doing holochrome covers. So whatever's left in stock, we got a few of those left that we're adding to the campaign. We revealed our first stretch goal, which is another page that's added, and the first trading card for the series. There are enamel pins that have been available from previous campaigns that are also available as add-ons here. They're about 2 inches tall. If you want the single issues in print, these are some of the ones we still have in stock. Curse of the Dragon Storm, New York versus the World, Shield of the Interceptor. And then here is the original art that has just been added today. That's the piece. And then the back is the image that it was used for. So we've got Unstoppable Origins, which is number 1 cover, trading card number 41, the original art that was used for that, the original art used for the Dragonstorm Volume 1 cover, and trading card number 38. The original art is there. And then here is the team that has worked on it. Myself, Russ Leach, Michael Summers, covered by Christian Giuseppe, my editor, Dr. Shamika Mitchell. My wife is doing the remastering on the lettering, contributing the artwork from Granda and from Champa Ramirez. And then here's some of the preview pages on the book. This is my 26th campaign. I've gone through the process. I know what's up. I know how to fulfill. So please be confident in that. And if you like superhero stuff, you just want a little break from everything else. You don't want a laborious underlying message. You just want a nice popcorn flick. Then this is it. This is it. Superhero stuff without the weight of 70 plus years of continuity.
All right, cool. What do you got? You got 20 days left.
20 days left. We're 51% funded.
Cool.
You didn't play the video, which is a little upsetting, but it's okay.
What happened? Oh, your video. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me.
Bad joke. Bad joke.
Oh, that's
no,
right. That's
bad joke.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody popped for it. I didn't even see anybody crack a smile. Come on. Come on.
I want to hear you go. I smiled, Jay. Roll back the
like
tape.
it.
I smiled.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody smiled, Jay. Everybody smiled. There you go. But again, in the show notes, click that link. You can go help Jay out, buy an awesome book for him. Because, if not,
I don't know why you would confuse JD like that, Rosario. You has our top full of stuff up as it is.
I'll have the video up when everybody goes to click it.
There you go. So real quick, this is my campaign. It's currently running. I got 11 days left. I've already funded.
Wow.
But this is the Oswald Chronicles, When Tender Souls Borns 1 and 2. This is a story where Oswald finds a young lady. He's a burgeoning sorcerer. He finds a young elfess on his basically close to his home. She's in trouble. He helps her out. He brings her into his home, and he finds out that she's cursed, and she's also on the run. And the curse, it has something to do with anyone she comes in contact with is doomed. And he's trying to figure out whether or not, is it more important to lose a friend or to survive, right? Because everyone's telling him you're gonna die. You know, if you leave this person in your life, this person will bring doom to you. And Oswald's not the type of person to give up on somebody, and he's a burgeoning sorcerer, so he's going to try to help her. So that's the conundrum, and her name is Lydia. And like I said, this is just the beginning story. This is the artwork by Aurelio Tillis, and we have a couple of covers, and this is also by Aurelio, his cover, and this is by Douglas, his alternative cover. And like I said, it's issues 1 and 2, and there you go. And when we hit the $2,000 goal, I will be including the prose version of this in the back of the books. So you'll be able to read the prose along with the comic book version, because it was originally a prose story, and I adapted it for the comic version. And there are differences between the two. So there you have it. You got another 11 days. All right. So let's get back to the conversation, because I want to continue yelling at C.
Bring it.
Hit him, see, hit him. Just reach out and smack him, kid.
There you go. But do me a favor though. Smack Jay first, because he's on your way over. No, C, it's your turn. Ask your question, sir.
All right. So I guess the question I said, what can you do better? Which can you look at yourself and say, I could be doing this better? What could you be doing better to get seen, to be seen in your comic, whatever?
All right, cool. John, you're up.
Oof. Marketing is my worst thing.
Okay.
It's hard to, you know, I am not adept at social media. I am not fluent at self-promotion. So it's difficult for me to be the salesman of our book, even though I have passion for it and I love talking about it. And like this thing is actually, you know, marketing in a sense, but when, you know, I would rather be at the drawing board than sending out a tweet or a message on Facebook, or trying to get Instagram, or paying for advertising, or anything else. And so that's always the bane of my existence, is how to self-promote.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
No, I feel like the answer to that is everything. But I mean, like, that's just like the general creative thing. Like, you're always feeling like you could do something better. But I'm kind of in the same boat as John. Like, I spend more time trying to do this stuff. Like, when I have free time, which in between working a day job, like, there's not a whole lot. And I don't want to come home and like use the 4 to 5 hours I might have a day to be posting on Facebook and stuff like that. Plus, it's so hard when it's comics, man, because you can't spoil the whole book, and you're like, the best images are the ones that like spoil everything. And you know, like, you're like, oh great, here's a medium shot. let's post that one. So like, you can't necessarily share everything, and sometimes people are under NDAs or whatever else, or working for a publisher, and you're not allowed to share anything. So sometimes it's like, I can't even show people what I'm doing until it's already out there. God, that's so hard. I don't know. That's my answer.
All right, fair enough. Travis, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I can just copy paste everything that John said, because that's me too. I suck at marketing, and just like getting people to care, you know, is really hard. But that kind of feels like a little bit too simple of an answer, because yeah, can we dig down a little more? Like, I don't know. I think for me, like, I know that there's a whole sort of game to doing the social media thing, sort of following where the algorithm is going. Like, we know that like reels do better than like regular posts and whatever. And so I could probably make more of an effort to like fit into those sort of prescribed modes of, you know, exploiting the algorithm. But yeah, I don't know. Partially it just like feels really gross, and I really begrudge like dedicating my time to doing that. But on the same like token, it would probably benefit my work to, you know, get more eyes on it. Yeah, I don't know. For me too, I think it's really hard, not just in comics, but like being a writer specifically. You know, I see a lot of artists who can get content out of, you know, making little time lapses of them working on a piece or whatever. And I don't have any of that. Like I can show, you know, some individual panels of stuff that I'm working on. But again, like Ryan said, you know, you don't want to spoil stuff, so you can only show so much. And beyond that, yeah, like where do you really get your content from? That's something that I'm still kind of struggling with, trying to figure out. So
Yeah, fair enough. Mr. J.
Yeah, I want to touch a little bit on what Ryan was talking about, and you know, time management. I could be a lot better on. You know, time management is huge, not just the 4 to 5 hours that I have after the day job, which a lot of times is spent on this, putting out whatever fire is coming up that day. Right? It's if I was doing better on time management, I can achieve the things on the to-do list, so that way I can handle the fire that pops up that day a lot easier, or give more time to it, or spend more time with my wife or other family members who are you know popping in and not understanding that I'm not playing around. You know, when I'm working on the computer at home, it's not a game. I'm actually doing work, right? You know, I don't get up at 4:30 on my day off to do work before anybody gets up, right? So I could do it without any interruptions, and one, you know, have people wonder why I'm so tired in the middle of the day.
I hear you. I hear that,
mean,
man.
right? It's time management. Time management. There's not enough time in the day, and then oddly enough, on the day that I have off, I'm so spent out from doing all the other stuff during the week. I don't even want to look at a computer. I'm just like, um, because I'm spending 16 hours a day sometimes between the day job and travel and work when I get home. I mean, I have business calls, or or story meeting calls, right, or venting calls when I'm stuck in traffic for an hour on the way home, because that's the only time I can fit it in. It's the only time that I'm not scripting or in front of a computer. So time management is what I can work better on. I don't know where I'm going to fit it in. You know, time management. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it for me. Because you don't want to miss out on those family moments either. Right?
So we all need AI clones, is what you're saying.
Nah. It all goes back to that.
if we could train an AI to be like a marketing guru, I would not be against that.
That's I'm so much of a micromanager. If there was another me, I'd still be worried that the lazy part of me wouldn't be doing it the right way, and I'd still have to do it regardless. So,
and that one would be checking on the art.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can market this stuff. This guy's drawn it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, brother.
Listen, I mean, for myself, it's always a thing of, I'm always battling myself with my writing. It's like, am I doing enough? Can I do enough? Have I done enough? It's like I said, my struggle is internal. It's with me. It's always a thing of like, can I do better? Can I write a better story? Can I reach my goals? Right? Those are the things. as far as what can I do better? Marketing. Hey, listen, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I suck at that too. But the real one I struggle with daily is always asking myself that same question: is can I make myself a better writer today? And that's always the toughie for me, because I'm always trying to expand and try to get a little bit better, and I'm like, okay, I'm an idiot, I don't know what to do. But I'm trying. So there it is. Mr. C, what are your thoughts?
Whatever, everything you guys said. There you go. It's knowing what to do and finding the drive to do it. That's what I need to do better. I know what I need to do. I just have to have the drive to do it. And I've got to force myself. It's kind of like what they say about running and exercise, right? You have to force yourself to start doing it. You can't, you never feel like doing it until you start doing it. So,
right.
I just have to find the.
You get to exercise?
No. Didn't you just hear what I said? Find the drive.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't know about you guys. After you do it, you do feel better.
Time that I would do my blue sky, right? My daydreaming stuff while I was going for a walk.
Right.
I don't walk no more.
Oh.
No, that's not good.
I don't got the time.
No.
See, I do mine in the shower, and being in bed sometimes it takes a long time, so I can only imagine what the family thinks is going on in there.
Don't worry, kids. Daddy taking care of business. He's doing work.
Comics business. Comics
business.
I'm sorry. I didn't how that was received the wrong way. I apologize.
Terrible.
You guys did have that adult warning earlier, so there is that.
We did. All right. So you know what? I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. Jay's already answered this question because I've asked this question on a prior show, and I think we maybe need to.
I'm sorry. Before you ask your question,
no, please.
No, let me go back to Steve for a second.
No.
That guy made a bitch move to tell your wife. Send the message to your wife.
Yeah. We're trying to get away from that. We're trying to get away from that. Let's move on. So I've asked this question before. The only person that answered this question before is Jay, so he'll get to pop up some new ones. So if you guys had a choice to own an original piece of artwork of a cover from any comic you know of, right? You got to own the original, it doesn't matter, right? What would it be? What would be that original piece of artwork that you'd want to own? So Ryan, what are you thinking?
God, I don't even know. I would probably pick something from either Scotty Young, something from Joe Madureira, or something from Ludo Lullaby. Those are like some of my favorite artists. I already actually own an original Scotty Young, like one of his sequential pages from Fairyland.
Nice.
So,
hey.
I would probably go with like Joe Mad, like anything, preferably Darksiders, but that's not really a comic, so that doesn't count. But whatever. I'm not going to argue.
All right, fair enough. Travis, what are your thoughts?
So I don't actually know for sure what this would look like. If it would even be feasible, but for me, it would be like any of the Dean McCain Sandman stuff, but that's like mixed media, so I don't actually know physically what that ends up like. I don't know if any of you here know. Do those still exist somewhere?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure they're very expensive.
I'm sure they are. But I think those would be incredible, and they must be like almost like little like sculptures. They'd be sort of three-dimensional and stuff too. So that would be really cool. Yeah.
All right, cool. John, what are your thoughts?
Well, my favorite would be something from Stan Sakai, a Usagi cover. Second would be the #1 of Thieves World by Tim Sale, because I love that. And possibly the third would be something from Wendy Pini, an ElfQuest cover, because those are, I'm old, so
I know how you feel, sir. See, what are your thoughts?
See, I'm not a covers person, so like if you said you started with original art, and the first thing that comes up is sequentials. So I'm trying to see if from the sequentials, probably something from the Chris Bachalo
Oh, nice.
steampunk.
Oh, okay.
Maybe one of those. I definitely know there's a few of the interiors I would rather have, but okay, let's go with #1. Let's go with #1. It's a pretty intricate cover. So if I was going to have to pick a cover, it would probably be that one.
All right, cool. Jay.
Okay, this is tough. This is tough because I've given you my Arthur Adams and my Mike Zeck. So we're moving down. And I know that this guy is not the artist for this character, but for me, he is. Teixeira's Ghost Rider, any one of his Ghost Rider covers, I think, is just perfect. You know what I mean? I'm an 80s kid and 90s kid. So that and the Ron Lim Silver Surfer stuff was just me. I think those two artists brought the best out of those two characters. They're identifying artists on either one of those. So but Teixeira takes the lead over Ron because, man, those Ghost Rider covers were just creepy and cool and nice, man. And it was almost, some of them were almost like Mignola-esque, where he utilized that negative space so well. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
All right, fair enough. I think for this one, probably it's an issue of Fantastic Four by John Byrne. And it's the one where Gladiator is holding the thing over his head with one arm that he reused in Superman.
Yes, I know the one you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, it's the one. A few people have done it over and over.
Yeah.
But I think that would definitely, I would definitely want that on my wall.
I need to issue a quick correction. It's Dave McKean, not Dean.
Oh, yeah.
I'm terrible with names.
No, I didn't catch it either. So it's okay. And I'm a huge Sandman fan. All right.
Hey, I want to change my answer because Rosario reminded me of a cover.
Okay.
By Adam Kubert, Spirit of Vengeance. I'm trying to find the Spirit of Vengeance. What is it? Is it #6, 1992? #6. Adam Kubert, Venom on the Venom holding Ghost Rider's skull upside down on the cover.
Oh, I know that one. Yes. Nice. Okay, more for the Ghost Rider or more for the Venom?
I would say for the Ghost Rider, but since it's mostly a Venom on the cover, but my attention would have been for Ghost Rider. That makes sense.
See, I feel that was still early in Kubert's career. He wasn't as defined later on. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
And I keep forgetting which one did X-Men and which one did Wolverine. Was it Adam or Andy?
Yes, that's a good question. I think it might be Andy did X-Men.
Andy did,
but I'm not sure though. Don't quote me on that.
But
But Jay, you're up. What's your question, sir?
Okay.
Adam did Wolverine.
Adam
Adam
did Wolverine.
did Wolverine. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Andy did the other one.
If you could have one classic independent comic book publisher bring out your book, who would it be? Would it be Comico? Would it be Fantagraphics? Would it be Aardvark Vanheim? Would it be Cartoon Books? You know, if you could have one classic publisher, whether they're still going or not, you know, would it be Neil with Continuity Comics? Who would you love to have publish your book? Or better yet, where do you think your book would fit in best?
Fair. Travis, you're up.
I want to say Fantagraphics. I mean, their headquarters at least is in Seattle near me, so I just feel that sort of home base connection. But also, yeah, they do a lot of like weird artsy fartsy shit, which is kind of in the vein of a lot of what I do. So, yeah, that'll be my answer.
Okay,
Cool. John, what are your thoughts?
That's tough. I mean, obviously, I would probably want Warp Graphics to print, but our book isn't family friendly. It's got a lot of. They were never against violence, but we have a lot of bad language in our book. So, I mean,
Did they have a potty mouth like Jay?
one of the characters does.
you're the one that said don't bring it up, and here you are bringing it up. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know what I mean? You break your own rules for yourself. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Or-
So
it's a cheap pop, to use your term.
Bob, yes. John, I'm sorry.
that's good.
So you think it fit in with there because of the language, or
I don't think it would fit in with Warp Graphics. I would love it to be because, you know, a lot of my heroes were published from Warp Graphics, but, you know, I think it would be maybe Fantagraphics would have taken it if as a publisher they were more into the extreme at times, you know. Cartoon Books wouldn't touch it, you know. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
So this is horrible, but right, I didn't really read a whole lot of comics like that back when I was younger. Like I just picked up whatever, and most of it was like Marvel and DC and stuff. Like I am really entrenched in like the indie comic scene, so not so much stuff that's like published. So I'm gonna go with Disney and Worst of Mayhem and Disney Adventures. Final answer.
Nice.
take that? We'll take that.
Yeah, we'll take that. See, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. So, as far as not a particular book, but if considering what I like to draw and how I actually like to, what style I actually like to draw, and I don't think they do it. They'd have to, because I think all they did was one thing. But Mirage Studios, I can't think that they did much more than Turtles, except for some maybe.
Well, they did Fugitoid.
Right? Yeah, Fugitoid,
They did
which ended up being
Fugitoid.
Turtles.
And wasn't there was another one with a cat? In like garbage. There was some other book. It was like
Not.
I don't know.
Golly, that narrowed it down.
Definitely don't know.
Cat and garbage. Let's see.
Yeah, I know.
Cat, that's it.
I forgot the name of it. It's not Splash. It was something else. It was like another weirdo book that they did. But
Yeah.
they didn't do a lot. But they, you know, it was Turtles, Fugitoid, and there was one or two other things they did. So
I mean, he broke off. Eastman broke off to do Tundra very early on, didn't he?
wow, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, but the thing about they were excited. They told the other artists, you know, that's how like Ninja Turtle Adventures got started. And yes, I remember it when I was a kid. Sorry, JD. Because we know how you feel about the turtles. But basically told that, they could just go wild and do it. And Ken Mitfrooney was one of the first artists that caught my attention on how I want to draw. So that's,
Well, that's cool. Whether or not my stuff would fit there or not, my favorite publisher is Dark Horse, and that's the publisher I always want to go with. I would choose them over Image any day of the week.
I like that. I want to go with it before they were bought out by Marvel. But the Ultraverse, Malibu and the Ultraverse, I feel my superhero stuff would have fit in really nicely there, especially where I could have filled some gaps. You know what I mean? Not with the Storm Chasers, because they had the Strangers, and then they had Ultra Force. But Shield of the Interceptor would have fit in really nicely there. The Vicky Stakes would have fit in really nicely in the dark corner of the stuff that was going on over there. Early Ultra Force work.
They never should have sold. I said they never should have sold.
But they were hurting, bro. They were hurting. And
didn't the guy who owned it, he walked away with a lot of money though?
He did.
Yeah, because he had some honorarium, some honorary position at Marvel where he just had an office and a desk and he didn't do anything, but he just pulled down a big check.
Yeah. I mean, did they buy it just for Men in Black or what? I don't know.
No. From my understanding, it was the digital coloring. DC was looking at it. I think Marvel kind of swooped in there. That's the rumor. Even some of the people from Malibu are not quite sure exactly what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right, because I think by year 3, it was already they were doing crossovers, and then, it was gone. Right.
Well, that's their Image was publishing their stuff.
You broke up. What's up?
Image was using Malibu to print their stuff, to publish their books.
No, in the beginning. Just in the beginning.
Yeah, but it wasn't long after that that Marvel come in.
Right. And when they left, Malibu used that money to start the Ultraverse.
Yeah.
But I think I would have fit in really nicely there. Followed closely by Comico. Comico was doing, the superhero bent for a little while. Elementals, Mage, a little bit of
Justice Machine.
They even had Robotech for a while.
Yep.
So Comico was nice for a minute. But that's it. Yeah.
All right, cool. Mr. Lanning, you're up.
I did this already, didn't I? I had to come with 2 questions.
It happens.
It's a rare night that we get to do 2 questions.
Exactly. It's a rare night.
Yeah, well, the cast light. We can get around the horn a few times, brother.
Golly. Let's see. So, I guess everybody's a writer. Mostly, everyone's a writer in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
John and Ryan are both artists.
They're both artists, but they write their
half and half.
But we write it. Yeah, but we write our story. Yeah.
Okay. If you could suggest a book about writing that does not have anything to do with comics, what book would you suggest?
I know.
All right, cool. John, you're up.
Yeah, I would suggest Save the Cat. It's about screenwriting, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, but I have heard of it.
It changes the way you approach a script because it looks at it as something that you're as a screenwriter versus a comic artist, and I loved it. It was extraordinarily insightful.
Excellent.
All right. Travis, what do you got, bro?
I'm going to give sort of an out-of-the-box answer because it's sort of not really about writing, but I found it really useful and insightful, and it is this book, Sculpting in Time by Andrei Tarkovsky. I don't know if you know who he is. He's this Russian film director, really the book is about art, you know, through his lens as a film director and sort of his process of filmmaking. But it's hard to not also find ways that it's applicable to any form of writing. And yeah, I found it super fascinating, especially if you've ever seen any of his films. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
So I'm blanking on the name, but that Stephen King book, it might be called On Writing.
On writing, yeah.
I found that pretty engaging. I got to about 40 or 50% of the book before I stopped reading it. So that's the one that I'm going to pick.
You got everything you needed and you moved on.
He kept me past 20 pages. I mean, that's a pretty good.
There you go.
I can't be the only one that uses half-read books to bookmark half-read books, right?
Hey, anything can be a bookmark.
Yeah. I mean, they do get a little bulky at that point, though. You know, sandwiching them in. You know, it's like
Inception.
Yeah.
It's like,
I wanna double down on Ryan's statement. I don't read any books on writing, but I listen to a bunch of podcasts from different writers. Yeah, I do. I listen to the different techniques, how they come about approaching a story, how they come about self-editing, how they build up their outlines. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Okay. Like an audio book.
So kind of, I'm curious now. Like, since most of you guys are writers, and obviously you're going to read books on writing, but do you also read books on art?
Yes.
Yes. But not, the development of art. More, art books like, video games. When they put together their Bibles on the construction of the characters artistically. There you go, bro.
yeah.
I love those, man. I love those. I've got a ton of them here, and everything from Assassin's Creed to Warcraft. Just love that stuff.
Yeah, that's one thing that really hits big is the work in progress type stuff.
Yeah,
character designs, concept designs, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Things you can't get with AI. But anyway, so this, but like if you want stuff to hit on Facebook or Twitter or whatever your post, because Instagram's different beast now. But yeah, from what I understand, doing the work in progress stuff really works.
Well, unlike Jay, I do read some books about, or I have read some books about, the art and the creation of art as far as, comic books, whether it be doing like the Marvel Comics way, the Will Eisner's library of books. He has like 3 books that he put out. I just recently read the first one not too long ago. Awesome book on the creation of comics. You understand? It's a textbook. And I mean, and it sometimes reads like a textbook, but there is something to be gained from it. It does give you an understanding of what's going on in further comics. But a book that I would suggest to people, if you can find it, because the author is passed away, is this book right here, Writing to the Point by Aldous Budges. Aldous Budges was an old school writer. He ran a magazine back from like the 70s all the way up through the 90s. And this guy would get hundreds of submissions, and he read every one of them. And he would send critiques back to everybody. And if you got the stamp of approval from this man, woof, you're on your way. Because this is old school. Like this is, Isaac Asimov and those types of guys. So it was one of those. It's a very good book. It's very thin. I mean, you can see it's a chat book. It's very, very thin, and it's writing to the point. And it's literally all it is he's going to give you the bare bones. He's going to tell you this is what you need to do to sell shorts. And this is specific to short stories, short story format for magazines back in the day, like Omni. There's still a few out there. The Isaac Asimov magazine I still think exists. Science fiction and fantasy is another one that I think is still out there. So if you want that sort of thing. But yeah, I would recommend this book. Like I said, if you can find it, it might be somewhere online. I wouldn't be surprised. So Jay, C, answer your own question.
Yeah, I would suggest all of the Writing Digest books that they have on dialogue, on setting, on plot. All of those are really good to really get an idea for that. You also have 20 plots, which are the common plots that you can always pull from if you're having writer's block. But one thing I think really works well for our genre as it is the Guide to Writing Fantasy and Science Fiction by Philip Athens. And you probably see it more because it has like R.A. Salvatore, who's known for, Forgotten Realms, Driss, Duerden, and all that. But he really kind of goes into how you don't want to compound certain terms. Giving a different name to your money and then giving a different name to your spacecraft or whatever that people won't understand. Like, for instance, it takes what I always use this example is Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. What was it? 12 parsecs. Took 12 parsecs to make the Kessel Run. Sure, that works fine because it gives the idea of, time, and that obviously, but we don't know what a parsec is, right? I have no idea. Maybe Rosario knows, I don't know. But what a parsec is. But
I thought you were saying parsec to begin with.
But the point is to not compound your fantasy, your science fiction with so much stuff. You had your gamma rays, but you don't want to compound it with so much stuff that people don't understand it and will be turned away from it pretty frequently, which you see a lot in budding science fiction writers. So you'd be reading the whole paragraph trying to figure out what's going on. It was just a bunch of made up words, kind of like Dianetics. Anyway.
I'll run that.
He did create his own religion,
Yeah.
They created his own vocabulary. I mean, and not in the good like Tolkien way either.
Right.
There's another book too that I wanted to mention. It's called Into the Woods by John York, and it basically outlines the archetypes that are universal in stories. But it also introduces this idea of a 5-act structure versus a 3-act structure in your storytelling, which it's a really interesting take on how to write. And I didn't mention in my last one too that it's Blake Snyder is the author of Save the Cat. So
yeah.
So my real answer is I hire an editor because he knows all the writing stuff, and I can just go back.
How about it?
All right, nice. All right, gentlemen, we've made it to hour 2, so we're there. So let's start with Ryan. Ryan, where can we find you and your work, sir?
So you can just find us at worst.mayhem.com or -mayhem.com. We're also on commonwealthcomics.com, where you can grab like our profiles, our portfolio links, and all that good stuff.
Cool. Travis, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, I mainly use Instagram for social media. I am at Travis Never Was, and I'm trying to use Blue Sky a little bit, so you can find me there too with the same name. And link to the Kickstarter in the show notes and stuff. That's pretty much it.
All right, cool. John, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, so like Ryan said, we are on at commonwealthcomics.com. Comics is with an X. And it's worst-mayhem.com, takes you right to the Kickstarter. We also have on Facebook, we have a Worst and Mayhem page, and there's a Commonwealth Comics page that you can go to as well. So,
all right, cool. C, where can they find you and your work?
As always, at landingart.com. That's LANNING art.com. And on arts.com Kamikaze, coming back this next Saturday on IndyComicsNetwork.com.
All right. Jay.
UnstoppableComics.com. You can find all my social media links on the website, Unstoppable Comics. And on Friday nights at 8 o'clock, check me out on Comic Book Streamland with this guy sometimes. We want to get this guy to come by, but, he never...
Well, now you're doing it on Friday. When did you switch to Friday? Because you were doing it on Saturdays.
This Friday.
This Friday. That's
That's Friday, yeah.
okay. Well, that's not too horrible.
Yes.
Yeah, because
So Friday
I
night, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
More geeky, more comic booky than independent but we'll slide in some independent stuff in there too.
All right, cool. So I'm JD Calderon. You can find me on theoswaldchronicles.com, talltalesonline.com, and more importantly on Kickstarter currently. Just like most of these gentlemen, please go check out the show notes. In those notes, there are links. Click on those links. Go check out those campaigns. Go buy those books. These creators are awesome creators. They deserve your support. And just remember, everybody, buy more indie comics, especially ours. And Jay, I got a surprise for you.
Yeah, boy!